Hey there, St. Peter's and friends of St. Peter's. I have an acronym to share with you today. SGN, which stands for Some Good News. One of my favorite offerings of this pandemic season has been from the actor John Krasinski. He began taping this segment that he called SGN, Some Good News, from his home office. And literally the point was just to share some good news in the midst of what felt like very heavy, a season of very heavy, weighty, oftentimes dark news. He just wanted to share some good news. And so it's always been a bright light for me to kind of think of the ways that not only I can share good news, but that I can be good news. In this season of pandemic, because as we find ourselves transitioning from summer to fall, which is a pretty easy transition, right? Because we know summer was here, summer is ending, fall is beginning, so we know how to stop and start again. But it's more complex to kind of navigate the transition of seasons between pandemic and post-pandemic, because it's sort of ambiguous. We don't know, when one part of this will end and then the next phase, post-pandemic begins. And so I think it's a great time to share some good news. Certainly we need to hear it out there in our lives in the world, in our families, and certainly we need to hear it as a faith community here at St. Peter's. You have continued to be good news. In the ways that you have embrace so much change and transition during pandemic. March 12th or 13th hit, and life as we knew it kind of got sidelined, and everything became virtual and online, and we all had to learn things that 6 months ago we would have never imagined learning. But thank you for the ways you've been generous, you've been encouraging, you've been flexible. Thank you for the ways that you have increasingly offered your own gifts and voices to become a part of the online offerings in many different ways, through worship, through classes like the racism class that saw over 102 participants. Our worship services, online worship services, in general, they've been getting over 200 to 300 views per week. If you multiply that times, many of those have 2 and 3 and 4 people watching, that's a good sized number of people who are worshiping with us, both during the hour of the premiere on Sunday mornings and then throughout the week. You have continued to care for one another in really profound ways, meaningful ways. Some of those ways only because you've been picking up the phone and calling people and checking in on them. That is some good news. And that is the church being the church, you being the church. We've experienced loss of members with regard to deaths of recent. And we are exploring, we have explored and we have created offerings for alternative platforms for memorial services. And we're doing that again with a small number of families. But it is good news. It is sacred ground to get to walk on with families as we figure out ways to celebrate lives and to claim God's resurrection promises, which is some really great news. We have continued to figure out how to be God's hands and feet in this world. You have provided a refrigerator, a commercial-sized refrigerator through our mission monies and our endowment monies to Emmanuel Presbyterian Church's food pantry. They went from feeding 150 individuals and families pre-pandemic to over 2,500 individuals and families during the pandemic. And that number is ever increasing. And if the statistics are right, the number of households who will experience food insecurity and hunger in the coming months will continue to grow at alarming rates. And so we continue to give mission monies and mission support where we can to Emmanuel and to other hunger and food insecurity programs. the ways in which you have also shown up to give food items and gift cards for our local mission partners when we've offered our drive-through drop-offs. Your offerings have gone to Shawl House, Harbor Interfaith Services, Communities Child. The impact is profound and lasting for those who need those items and those non-perishable foods. So thank you to all of our volunteers, our people, our mission committee who has made those offerings come to life and happen. That's some good news. There's, ways in which small groups have been creative in the ways that they come together in this season. Some small groups, have only been able to meet once. Other small groups have met weekly. Some have really found new platforms and ways of communicating via email prayer chains, via online devotionals, and Zoom check-ins. One of those small groups is a group of 5 women who are beloved members of this church. Dorothy Ferris, Rita Plantamura, Mickey Jordan Emmenheiser, Pam Barkley, and Valerie Ryan. Those ladies meet at least or usually once a week for prayer, for inspiration, to challenge one another, to support one another, to laugh together, to keep each other sane. And, on one of those recent weeks, they decided to meet just a little bit longer. And because they decided to meet a little bit longer, they witnessed towards the end of that phone call, Dorothy Ferris begin to have a series of strokes. And it was scary, but it was alarming because they knew by Dorothy's lack of response, they knew what was going on. And so they immediately called emergency services and got Dorothy's husband, Bill, into the fold. But had they not been on that call, the outcomes could have been very different. Dorothy will tell you that she feels like the reason that she is living and moving and breathing in the ways that she is nothing short of a miracle. That is some good news. That is some great news. And I know that Dorothy and any member of that group would be happy to share more of that story with you. But, sometimes the ways that we imagine small groups coming together and then the community that they provide, sometimes they end up being together in ways that we could never ask for or imagine, and in this case, a life-saving way. So thanks be to God for you, Dorothy Ferris. We have some good news coming our way this fall. We are going to be using as our fall theme, love one another. Love one another. 3 simple words that Jesus spoke. We're just lifting them right out of the Gospel of John. Jesus is talking to his disciples. He says, love one another. As I have loved you, love one another. By this, people will know that you are my followers, that you are my disciples. So love one another is going to be kind of, our guiding theme as we navigate our way in and through this fall and hopefully in and through and out of this pandemic. Some good news is that we have been thinking of a way to come together and connect in a way that's responsible and adhering to all the guidelines of what we need to be adhering to with COVID-19. And so we have decided to have a fall kickoff. And that fall kickoff is going to be on Sunday, September the 13th, right after online worship. So it will begin at 11 a.m. and it's going to be a drive-through block party here in the church parking lot. And all you have to do is put on your mask, get in your car with you and your family members or by yourself. You can decorate your car. You can write love one another in shoe polish, or, you can make, signs that say love one another, or, write out praises to God that you can hold out and hold up. And then once you arrive at the church parking lot, we will be there. and we will be masked and distanced, so we'll do everything appropriate, but we will guide you through some stations that we think will be both meaningful and fun. There will be special opportunities for teachers and students, children and students, to receive blessings for their backpacks, for their Chromebooks, for their school year. Teachers, we have something special for you. So if you're a teacher of any level of academics, please come, and we would like to offer a special blessing to you. And then any of us, as you pass through this station, you will receive a blessing and just a meaningful way of us wanting to remind you that we are a part of something bigger together. Another station will be a station that will be filled with fun. It's going to be hosted by Kevin Cox and Sequoia Jordan, our youth ministry staff, and some of our youth. And so I'm not going to go into those details, but it will be fun. So I hope that you'll come and be a part of experiencing that. Another station is just going to be kind of an encouragement to love one another. And we're going to be giving out these yard signs that say love one another. And it's going to have our design, our graphic that we're going to be using all fall. And you can put these in your front yards. And there are ways to also see that they can get connected if they're hungry for connection with us here at St. Peter's. We will, keep the contact very limited in terms of who touches those signs. We'll be gloved, so we'll hand them to you if you want them. If you do not come to the drive-thru and you would still like one of those signs, just call us here at the church or email us, and we will make sure that one is delivered to you. Another station is going to just give you ways to get connected and stay connected and to serve, during this, season of pandemic. With your St. Peter's family. And, there are ways that are coming down the pike that we are excited. I just want you to know that your session is always praying and thinking about, the ways that God is kind of calling us to open our campus and to open our lives again in responsible ways. In person, because I know that's what we all crave. We want to be together and see each other in person. And so as of September 1st, our campus is reopened again in limited capacity. But you can make a reservation with Laura Blakeman if you want to meet in a small group or a committee meeting, host a committee meeting or a prayer group or some other group. You can meet in groups of 25 or less in some designated spaces around campus. All the information is on our website. It's also coming out in the weekly email news blasts. So, if you'd like that information or you'd like to make a reservation, go ahead and do so. And all the kind of guidelines are pretty clear and outlined for you. And that's stage 2 of our reopening. We hope to move to a stage 3. And we will clearly let you know when that happens. Stage 3 would involve more in-person contact, greater, capacities for group sizes, possibly some in-person outside worship. But I want you to know that your session is thinking about these things and praying about these things and planning for these things. So though at times it may seem like things are sitting idle or people are sitting idle, they are not. We are not. And we always look forward to sharing some good news with you. The best news that we have is really that, in Jesus, we know that we are loved. In Jesus, we know that we are cared for. In Jesus, we know that we have a story to tell. And so because of that love, because of that assurance that we are known, because we have that story to tell, we can then go and be good news. So I hope that you'll join me and join us in some of these good news offerings, some of these good news sightings, and that you'll join me and join others as we move into this fall, seeking to be the good news of Jesus for each other and for this world that God so deeply loves. Thanks for being good news in my life, to my family's life, and to your beloved St. Peter's family. God bless y'all, and have a great day.